Stay curious. This is Unremarkably Remarkable. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering your cup of coffee is illegal. Not taxed, not limited, banned. And not just once, but multiple times in history, by kings, priests, and governments terrified of what coffee did to people. Why? Because when people wake up, they start asking dangerous questions. When coffee first arrived in the 1400s, it wasn't just a drink. It was a revolution. It began in Yemen, used by Sufi monks to stay awake for prayers, but it quickly spread. New coffeehouses popped up across the Middle East, from Mecca to Cairo to Istanbul. They were called schools of wisdom. For the price of a cup, you could hear the latest news, share poetry, debate politics, and argue philosophy. Information flowed freely. It was the great-great-grandparent of the internet, a place where ideas could catch fire. And for the people in power, that was the most dangerous thing in the world. The first major crackdown came in the Ottoman Empire in the 1600s. Sultan Murad IV saw the coffeehouses as breeding grounds for sedition. He believed they turned loyal citizens into critics, dangerous critics plotting his downfall. So, he did the unthinkable. He banned coffee entirely. He shut the cafes, he sent his soldiers into the streets to smash the cups and arrest anyone caught brewing or drinking it. Punishments were severe. First, a beating. But for a second offense, you could be sewn into a leather bag and thrown into the river. Some stories even claim the Sultan himself would walk the city streets in disguise, sword in hand, ready to personally execute anyone defying his law. But it didn't work. Coffee simply went underground, brewed in secret, becoming a potent symbol of quiet, daily rebellion. By then, the drink had already arrived in Europe, and it was causing a whole new kind of panic. Priests in Italy declared it the bitter invention of Satan, the devil's drink. Its effects were deeply suspicious. Unlike wine, it didn't make you drunk and dull. It made you sharp and alert. It was the drink of the Ottomans, the so-called infidels. Church leaders begged Pope Clement VIII to forbid it for all Christians. The Pope, curious, asked for a cup to be brought to him. He took a sip, and after a moment, he reportedly said, "This drink is so delicious, it would be a sin to let only the infidels enjoy it." With that, he performed a baptism of sorts and blessed the coffee bean. And with the Pope's approval, coffee spread across Europe like wildfire. But the biggest panic was still to come. The blessing didn't end the fear. It only amplified it as coffeehouses exploded in cities like London and Paris. Another monarch, a European king, would soon watch this rise with growing terror. He would declare that coffee wasn't just dangerous, it was an act of treason, and his attempt to crush it would spark a firestorm that changed the course of a nation. Coffee had already survived bans by sultans and priests, but in England, one king tried to shut it down for good, and the people fought back. In the 1670s, London's coffeehouses were humming. Inside, amidst the steam and dark brew, King Charles II was facing a growing storm of criticism. Pamphlets were being passed from hand to hand. Rumors were whispered over steaming cups. Political debates, once confined to Parliament, were now happening on every street corner. And he knew exactly where most of it started. So, he issued a royal proclamation. Every single coffeehouse in England must shut its doors. He called them hotbeds of sedition. He saw them as dangerous places where ordinary citizens became too informed, too opinionated, and far too united for his comfort. The backlash was not just swift. It was volcanic. Writers grabbed their quills and openly mocked him in public papers. Merchants whose entire businesses were conducted in these new social hubs protested loudly in the streets. Even the wealthy elite, the very people the king might have counted on for support, simply ignored the order. The will of the people was clear, and within 11 short days, King Charles II backed down.
The coffeehouses stayed open. But if you think that was an extreme reaction, Sweden decided to take it a step further. A century later, King Gustav III was absolutely convinced that coffee was a deadly poison. And to prove his point, he launched one of history's strangest scientific experiments. The subjects were two identical twins, both convicted criminals who had been sentenced to death. The king offered them a deal. Their sentences would be changed to life in prison on one condition. Every single day, one twin would be forced to drink 3 pots of tea, the other 3 pots of coffee. Doctors were assigned to monitor their health, waiting for the coffee to do its fatal work. But a strange thing happened. The doctors grew old and died. Then the king himself was assassinated. Decades passed, and then, at the age of 83, the tea-drinking twin died. And the coffee-drinking twin, he outlived them all. So here's the truth.
The threat of coffee never had anything to do with its flavor or its effect on the body. Rulers weren't afraid of a beverage. They were afraid of what happened when people drank it together. The real danger was the coffee house itself. It created community, a new kind of public square where ordinary people could afford to sit, to talk, to exchange ideas, to challenge the authority they had always been told to obey, and to imagine different futures for themselves. You can try to ban a drink, but you can't ban people who have learned how to think together. Coffee has shaped revolutions, sparked scientific debate, and connected strangers for centuries. It's never been just a drink. It's a quiet catalyst, a small, warm moment that opens a door to bigger thoughts. And maybe that's why so many powerful people feared it. Not because it was dangerous, but because it woke people up. Because even the unremarkable can be remarkable. That was today's look at the remarkable hiding inside the ordinary. If curiosity made you smile, stick around for more little wonders every week. Like, subscribe, and let's keep exploring how even the unremarkable can surprise us.